Now, let me start with the Daily Graphic that is reporting this morning. You say we'll go there, so there's a brief that you should know about. Speaker's declaration of 4 MPs, Supreme Court ruling is binding on Parliament. Legal experts tell NDC caucus. This is Albert Kwashiga and Samson Ladia NNA. Okay, Kwashiga now teaches at the law school at UPSA. And of course, we know Samson. So, yes, they are saying that they need for Parliament to obey the ruling of the Supreme Court and all courts, even if parties are of the opinion that they are wrong, unlawful, or unconstitutional. And again, there's this point that we should make clearly. There are states, like in the UK, where Parliament is supreme, that you cannot order the Parliament. In fact, they can strike down as unconstitutional a law, but leave the remedy to Parliament and everything to Parliament to do. Here in the Republic of Ghana, the basic understanding is that when it comes to interpretation of what the law says, is the job of the Supreme Court. Yeah. So even if you have made some ruling on it, the court can have its final say on the matter, even if it's unintelligible gibberish, even if you disagree with it, even if you think this is absurd ruling, the place for finality on the interpretation, and we have schemed it in such a way that there's no confusion over that particular matter, is the Supreme Court. So I'm expecting that regardless of their disagreements with this particular ruling, that matter will be at least admitted. Then maybe if they wish to challenge it with the same speed and alacrity, the court will deal with the matter, hopefully. Or if they think that they have other ways of going about their business, they can do so. What we cannot have is a major arm of government openly showing hostility to another. There's a day we'll have a conversation on how we got here, about what the structures. But I think that should be the basic approach to this issue, in a way that will let everybody appreciate what's happening. And I repeat, you can find it nonsensical. You can think there's no legal thinking behind what they have done. You can even take the view that the entire conduct is unconstitutional. But you respect it until you're able to set it aside, or do the very things that you're allowed to use to actually set it aside. So that we are not seen, because if we are seen openly making another branch of government look like, listen, when you say it, nothing would happen, that finality still rests. In fact, as we speak, Parliament can make new laws to change things that they've believed ought to be changed, but those laws will still have to be interpreted by the Supreme Court. So that's why it should at least let there be some sanity on the space. That is, if we want to do the right thing today. Of course, you can make all your points in the House. You can insist on saying whatever you want to say. If I even condemn the entire ruling in this form, and I don't see anything wrong with that. In this country, some people make it look like they wrote the Bible, so we can't attack it in any form. But you can condemn the ruling in any form that you want to do. But still, after compliance, it has to be.
I think it's an interesting time that we live in. Sami Odame was there when I met Charlotte Osei for the first time. She was at the time she was the EC chair, and one of the things she said to us in that meeting was that a key duty of the media is to protect state institutions. I didn't quite get her at the time, but she took her time to explain to us, not to protect government officials, but state institutions, because that is what keeps order in our society. If state institutions are weakened, order falls through, falls through the cracks. So in the same way that we respected Parliament when the Speaker made a declaration, and we referred to the NDC side as the majority and the MPP side as the minority, now that the Supreme Court has made a ruling, until that ruling is challenged legally and overturned, we have to do the same thing, protect state institutions, and refer to the NDC side as the minority and the MPP side as the majority. Today, of course, we await what the Speaker will do in response to the ruling. But Elton joins us briefly, and Elton, of course, for many years was our parliamentary correspondent. You know, I mean, parliamentary correspondent emeritus.
In fact, one term.
One
term,
but end the title honorable.
That's right. That's right. After one term, he end the title honorable. And indeed, look, I doubt there are many who understand parliamentary process better than Elton, which is good, because today we are all curious about how things will go. From 8 a.m. when the doors open. Elton.
Right. So, Amikojo, it's very interesting that we are having to have this discussion, especially when the people involved are matured individuals, some in their 70s, some 80s, PhD holders. I mean, everybody in Parliament is reputed to be of some substance.
Yep.
There's a reason why they are described as honorable, but their conduct in the last few years has been very dishonorable, and I don't expect them to continue that dishonorable behavior today. I mean, the communication we got from Parliament says that the chamber should be open at 8 a.m. Now, already we are seeing some members of Parliament already there. In fact, they wanted to be in the chamber, and now the place is locked. I've also seen some military personnel around the President of Parliament. What exactly are they going to do today? It's very important. Are they going to put up the behavior they put up on the 7th of January 2021? That was unacceptable. If they repeat it today, that will be equally unacceptable. I expect them not to behave like school children. I expect them to behave maturely and respect the laws that they pass. There's a reason why they are called honorable, and I expect them to live up to that billing. But this attitude of maturism, if you like, some group thinking that we have earned the right to be here, when in actual fact the law may not support it. I think they should allow the law to work. And this morning, as is usual with parliamentary practice, I know the Speaker will meet the leaders at a pre-sitting level, usually around 8 a.m., where they will discuss what exactly they will do in the chamber. So the decision of the Speaker will be communicated to the leader, and I expect that will be implemented when the chamber or sitting is called to session at exactly 10 a.m. I don't want to see the situation where there is jostling for seats in the chamber. That will be wrong. That will be bad. They must live up to expectation today. They must demonstrate to the world and to Ghanaians that they are matured individuals who respect the rule of law and respect parliamentary practice. But this attitude of we will be here, we will not be here, we are majority, we are minority, we are minority, we are not majority, that to me is not what it's about. They should demonstrate to the world that they are honorable. There's a reason why that title is bestowed on them.
But before we bring in Kwekwa Asante, one of the things we must realize, and one of the things our members of Parliament must realize, yes, that you represent a people on a ticket of a political party. But your first is that you represent a group of people. While you contested on a ticket of a political party that made it easier for you to become a member of Parliament, do not take it for granted. And I say this thing. In the 2020 elections, combined, members of Parliament of the NDC had 30,000 more votes than John Mahama. Akufo-Addo had 200,000 more votes than the NPP members of Parliament combined. What that tells you is that there are some people who actually voted for the NDC members of Parliament and voted for Akufo-Addo. I'll give you the situation in the Central Region. 19 constituencies were won by Akufo-Addo. His party, the NPP, won 10 seats. The NDC, 13 seats. So your loyalty first is to your people. I can understand the disagreements you may have, with the rulings of the Speaker, first of all, and subsequently the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
But like Samson Ladi Anyanini and Albert Kwashiga have advised, if you have a problem, resort to the processes allowed. And like I have stated, why? Members of Parliament, you're going to what? Are they going to fight today? Are you going to fight? What would you gain? you would just make the country a laughing stock. Today, people are telling other countries how not to govern economically, using Ghana as an example. If you want our democracy to be laughed at, also go ahead and do that, and we will remember you. Posterity will judge these group of members of parliament.
Yeah. Another quote from my father: your only job as an elder is to make sure that young people can't insult you. Kweku Asante joins us now from Parliament. He, of course, is our current parliamentary affairs correspondent after the handover from Emeritus. Kweku joins us now. Kweku, good morning.
Good morning, Kojo.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I was there. I wish I could see. But thank God you are there and you could tell us how things are shaping up for this morning.
Kojo, I think you should have been here, and I think you would have had a lot of words to describe the situation. In fact, right in front of me there are 5 soldiers with a sniff dog who have been sniffing around the entire precincts of Parliament. And for those of you listening, this parliamentary sitting, since the House reconvened last week, has been held at the dome of the Accra International Conference Center. That is where the sittings have been held. The dome has been turned into a makeshift parliamentary chamber. And so 5 soldiers in front of me, there are about 6 others who are also all around the place inside the chamber trying to make sure that everything is in order. In fact, that is not the normal occurrence in Parliament. It is not normally the military who come around and ensure that the security is in place. But this time around, given the high stakes that we've had since that declaration by the Speaker and this morning, it has been a bit understandable that they are here. In fact, I've just seen them. They are also going in again with the snake dog to the public gallery as well as where the media sits, and they are going in there with their commander. Early on, the allegation that was made by the minority was that, in fact, the NDC, the NPP MPs had been allowed to enter the chamber, and in fact, there was a circular yesterday by the Marshal to Parliament indicating that the House was not going to open its doors till 8 o'clock a.m. this morning. The NDC MPs say, contrary to this, the NPP MPs were allowed into the chamber, and that has been confirmed. The NPP MPs have not denied it. I've spoken to Habib Idrisu on the joining channel a while ago. He said that it was not because any security officer opened the door for them. They came here at whip on the majority side, the NDP side, went into the chamber to see the arrangement is what they left here on Thursday, and that is if they are still on the majority side to ensure that everything is intact. And he did go in there with Frank Anadam, his chief whip, and one other NPP MP. They went in there, they saw that everything was fine. And then when the soldiers came in and said that they were screening the place to ensure that the place was in order, they came out. As we speak, they are standing right across the street, and they are just in front of the big ship. There are also about a dozen NDC MPs, led also by their chief whip, Governor Kwame Agbodza, who are already here. In fact, I see a number of them coming, including Dr. Rashid Pelpo, who, of course, we understand are ready to go in there and occupy the majority seat. But as we speak, there are no NDC or NPP MPs within the chamber of the House. All of them have been asked to come out because of the ongoing screening by the Ghana Armed Forces, armed men together with sniff dogs who've gone in there to ensure that the chamber is safe for MPs to go in there. Yesterday, or in fact Sunday, the NDC did allege that the government was planning to deploy soldiers here. Already this morning, there are soldiers here. It is not clear they are going to be here throughout the city, or just like they've done this morning, they are going to use the slave dogs to check the precincts and then they will leave. That is the situation, as Kiko Joyang said, with both sides really ready to go in there and occupy the majority side, which will set the stage for the chaos like we saw on the midnight on the 7th of January 2021 when Alban Bagbin was elected Speaker of Parliament.
Wow. Right. So, so far, what we're seeing are military officers and sniffer dogs. Any signs of the marshals?
No, the Marshal Department, the other officers of the Marshal Department are here. The Marshal himself is not here. Neither are his 2 deputies. They have not been here this morning since I've been here around 10 a.m. They have not been here. But the Marshal officers are here. There are a number of police officers who are also here, as well as the military. In fact, the security situation has been tightened really much. As soon as you enter from the conference center, you will see a roadblock manned by a couple of police officers who blocked that space completely. And so when you come in there, they will check your ID. They will ensure that you have to be here. Already, today, the public gallery has been closed to the public. It means no member of the public who is not a journalist or a staff of Parliament can come here. And so that is part of the measures that have been put in place for what has been expected to be a really chaotic setting today. So when you come in there, you will see that roadblock. And when you come close to it, but you see a few more policemen, you see a few other military men who are also with their snif dogs outside the Chamber of Parliament. There is also a number of snif dogs with military men who have also gone into the chamber as we speak now. Then a number of NPP and NDC MPs who are already standing outside, waiting for the chamber to open. Then they will all go in and occupy the seats that they wish to occupy. If anything that I'm seeing here is to go by, there are 3 NPP MPs here, Frank Another 24 Nsawam Adwajiri. You also have Habib Idrisu, MP for Tolon, and then the Deputy Energy Minister and MP for Mpoho, John Abam Sani, Kojoyan, Winston Amoa's very good friend. 3 of that NPP MPs already here, right in front of the chamber. And then there are about a dozen other NDC MPs, 12 of them, who are also standing right in front of the chamber. And so when the Parliament chamber is open, we would expect that all of them will go in there and try and occupy the majority seats of the House. We understand more NPP MPs and more NDC MPs will come. And there will clearly be a battle of the fittest if none of them drop their entrenched position to go in there and occupy the majority seat. It's currently 3 against about 12 on the NDC side, Kojo.
Wow. Now, Kweku, do we know on whose instruction the military is present in Parliament today?
Well, in fact, I did go close to the person who seemed to be commanding a military officer. He's also a military man. He did not speak to me. In fact, I was live on TV. I beckoned him a little bit and I wanted to ask him a few questions. He will not answer any questions to me. In fact, some of the minority MPs have also been asking and demanding the same, and they say they've not been given any answers as to what exactly is being done. I only heard this commanding officer telling one NDC MP that this is an arrangement that we have with Parliament to do this. But for as long as I've been reporting in Parliament, I have never seen on a morning like this military men with slave dogs coming in here to check the place. Maybe it happens before I come here, but I have never seen that. And some of these NDC MPs, some of them who have been in Parliament for 3, 4, 5 terms, have been expecting supplies of the development. Let's say that when it comes to doing parliamentary business, it is the BASA and sometimes some police officers, and in fact the Parliamentary Protection Unit, which is an entire unit of police officers stationed in Parliament that have been taking charge of the security. And so some of them are really surprised that the military are coming in there. We saw those things on the midnight of 7th January when about 2 dozen armed men entered the chamber. Obviously, we changed that at the time, but the NDC MPs who kept shouting away, 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 and who were clearly not enthused about that situation. But ultimately, these scenes have been repeating today, this morning, with a number of military men already around. We do not know if they will only do this training exercise and leave, or they are going to stay for the long haul. I see a military vehicle. I see National Dog Academy, Ghana Military Police. They station right at the entrance of the chamber. There is another military vehicle with a 1-star on it. It's also stationed right in front of the chamber. So 2 military cars right here, a number of military officers, some of them inside, some of them outside. We are yet to get some answers, and we'll be seeking to get them when the Master to Parliament himself come in here. What exactly has necessitated this? Are they aware of the coming of the military? Are they the ones who commissioned the military to be here? Also, just gone by, I've just seen one of the advanced vehicles of the Speaker of Parliament coming. The security detail of the Speaker of Parliament. They came in about a while ago with a Land Cruiser. They've also now just left. They just came to survey the place for about a minute or two, and then just immediately drove out of the chamber. We expect sitting to start very early today. Fingers are closed around the Speaker's office as to what exactly the Speaker may be intending to do. Yesterday, he did post a cryptic message on social media that Ghana is bigger than any institution or any other person. It is really left to interpretation. But what exactly will the Speaker of Parliament be willing to do this morning when he comes in? That is something that he is keeping very close to his chest. Officers around him are not willing to give out any information, Kojo. It's a very tensious situation in local slang, that some would say. It's really the tensions. You can feel them palpable on the faces of the MPs. You can see them. They just don't even want to talk to each other. They are standing very close, like about 12 meters distance between the NDC and MPs, but they are not communicating. They are not talking to each other. They are just occasionally throwing jabs through the air to each other.
Kweku, thank you so much. I mean, I feel like I was there, right? Really great update on what's going down in Parliament so far.
Kojo, on this military presence, this is what Majority Leader Alexander Afenyomakin said on Peace FM, I think yesterday, there will be no chaos in Parliament, and I'm quoting him directly. We will not allow that. There will be no military presence. They would have no business in Parliament. It's part of their, into bracket, NDC ploy. We will not fall into that trap. This was when the allegation was raised first that the military is being commanded to be on the ground today.
Interesting. So, well,
which means that effectively there will not be, it will not be Alexander Afenimaki knowing that they are there, because I'm sure by his briefing as of yesterday there was no such decision being made.
Okay, so yeah, as far as we can tell, majority leader by the Supreme Court ruling had no idea that there will be military.
But you don't need military presence in
yeah, and that
in
concept
Parliament. You don't
is
need it.
very foul.
Yes.
It's very problematic.
Remember the last time
We
that
tolerated
happened, right?
previously, and that matter has not been put to rest today. Today, do we know who asked them to go there? Under whose command and instructions they were there previously?
And what are they there to enforce?
Well,
exactly?
at the time, you had the then member of parliament for Damongo saying that he spoke to Dominic Nitiwul about whether he could, if he could help with, some people to bring sanity at the time these challenges were going on. That was on 7th of January.
So the defense minister admits that he's the one who sent military people.
That is what Abu Jinapor said. I haven't heard from the
Oh, you
defense
remember
minister.
that, right?
No,
yeah.
I get that.
Yes,
But
no.
I'm trying to say,
I
see,
think he did admit. Didn't he?
I've heard Abu Jinapor say that. I don't remember what the defense minister said.
Yes,
but
he
I
himself.
But I remember what Abu Jinapor said, and that's what I've put out. But this is it for me.
see, these are at best members of parliament, even if they are engaged in a brawl. It's nothing that regular security cannot handle. They are not beyond the control of the people. That signal that you deploy your military into the legislative chamber is problematic. It is unacceptable, and we should be careful about this. We dilly-dallied around it in the previous times. Today, we are so unsure. The next time, we will not be sure about what they do permanently in that particular place. And this is not something that should be countenanced. It is not, in fact, these men and women, the worst they can do is repeat the I push you, you push me kind of engagement they did previously. That does not require. In fact, a few policemen can deal with this matter in a much more effective manner. You do not need any element of military control, direction, or input into this one. We know why the military is needed more importantly. That one we all know. That conversation we've had consistently. So if there are extra men available, I would suggest to the person deploying that that's where you should be taking them. Because this attitude of making it look like, well, they ought to be on the ground, except if it is the speaker that's saying, I have picked up intelligence, and I'm not saying he has said so. Even so, we ought to question why we have become so interested, one way or the other, in calling in the military into that chamber consistently. That is problematic.
The last time that happened, as we've all said, there was some indication that it had something to do with the defense minister making that call. But what exactly is the structure here? Who has the power to send the military to parliament? Right? That's something I'm interested in, because it doesn't happen. So if it has happened today, how did it happen? Who has the power to do this? And what are their instructions? So what are they going to enforce? When at 8 a.m. when the gates open, where is the military going to ask who to sit?
And why
Right.
should it even be their business in the first place?
Indeed. I mean, the Supreme Court has made a ruling. But is that what they are there to enforce? Is it, or are they there to enforce what the speaker announced last week? Elton.
Right. So Kojo, there's a development on the deployment of the military. Now, what I'm picking from Parliament, from the leadership at the very top, is that usually every Tuesday, Parliament invites the military to, in the security language, to sweep the chamber. The reason why people are seeing them this morning is that they usually come in very early, because members of arms decided to go and take their seats very early. That's how come you are seeing the military, and it is not because they are there at the invitation of government. It is Parliament that invited them to come, and they come there every Tuesday early morning before 6 a.m. to do their usual sweep, and then before the chamber is open for normal parliamentary business to start. So the information I'm picking from the very top leadership of parliament is that this invitation is extended to them by the parliamentary service and not by government. So what we are seeing today is very normal with them. They are there every Tuesday early morning to sweep the chamber, and the reason people are seeing them is because members have decided to report to work today very early.
Right. So they will not be there by the time the chamber opens at 8 a.m.
Usually, according to the leadership, once they are done with their usual security issues, they leave. So members come to house usually after 10 a.m. They don't see them, but the reason you are seeing them today is because they've decided to report to work early.
Okay. Well, we'll see how that.
But then in that case, they should have reported earlier than members reported. But let me just put that out.
No, but the point is that members want to go to work early today.
Yeah.
If today was any normal day, you find them at 11 a.m., 12 a.m. You find the chamber empty. But today, because they want to flex muscles,
So
they want to be.
because the chamber is going to be open at 8 a.m. and you know it's going to be open at 8 a.m. You get there earlier. But I've just
again, that explanation could have been given as part of the majority leader's explanation
prior to today.
Yes.
So
So
you
it's
don't
not made to look like military never come. So when you see them, it's problematic. That could have been explained. And I am so convinced that he will be in the known of the activity of this groupie right from the beginning.
Whatever happens, by the time Parliament starts, we don't want to see the military there. But Dominic Nitil denied ordering the soldiers on the 7th of January.
Okay.
So we still don't know who.
Yes, so during his vetting, he denied. He said he didn't do that. So that's just by way of information.
Unfortunately, Parliament has decided that they won't set up any committee to investigate the events of January 7th, 2021, because according to the Speaker, it will be MPs investigating themselves, so that matter can never be open.
Wow. Okay then.